But I do feel people need to know what's going on out there. And if they think that they're quite safe and they can just sit at home and maybe just knock out a little tweet that, they think is a bit edgy or whatever, just be aware of the climate out there at the moment. And, it could be a knock on your door.
Behind your back, and then we'll be doing this as easy as possible.
I'm not at risk. You're not at risk, the public aren't at risk.
Unfortunately, Julian, we don't know you, so we're just going to have to do this as part of the procedure.
Yes.
Julian, I do know you, and I've just recognised you. So we'll go in and we'll sort that, and I'll speak to you inside, and we'll sort that. Okay. I know you're not at risk to the officers. I didn't know that. I've not clicked the name or anything at all. I was asked just to come and help. Obviously myself.
They cuffed me. They came inside. They told me they were going to do a Section 32 search of my house. They were looking for evidence of extremism.
How many views are here?
It's about 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah.
Seriously, 5 people?
There's a reason though. Okay, so what the plan would have been was if an arrest was made, 2 officers would obviously go to custody and the others finish whatever else is needed.
This is just absolutely unbelievable.
And they wanted to seize all my digital devices, phones, laptop, desktop computer, everything, every digital device. I couldn't see too much of what was going on because I was basically stuck in the dining room there with one officer while all this was going on. But when I reviewed it afterwards, there were things that, some seemed slightly farcical and some seemed, borderline ridiculous. And they went through every room, they went through every wardrobe, cupboard, drawer. They went in my loft, they went in the garage, they searched my garden shed, from which they removed a computer which was basically there en route to the tip.
Very waxy things. Okay, it's really this one. Queen and everything.
And the officers that basically went through everything in my house, I think they went about it in the only way they could go about it, but I would still class them as being respectful. But when you've got people trampling through your home, it felt to me like probably how I would feel if my house was burgled, that my home and my castle had been violated. And when you've got people just looking through every single thing, every single part of your life, when you see the body-worn footage of them going through your wife's underwear, that kind of thing, it's hard to describe the feeling, and it's not something that leaves you. It's kind of like a PTSD, I think. It's not something you can just forget about. Although I tried for a period, thinking that perhaps I could, and that was the best way to deal with it. But eventually I decided that it was wrong, and I needed to do something about it. And the fact that Kent Police have taken the decision to remove it tells me that, having reviewed everything, they can see that things were not as they should have been. I had to show them how to get in the loft because they couldn't work out the loft ladder. Fair enough, it's not a problem for me to show them, but some of it was upsetting. I mean, I've got some newspaper cuttings, articles upstairs from the time that from the time that my daughter died. And they were going through those. So, you know, it is, I don't think people understand, you know, just how traumatic this is. And yeah, it was very hard to deal with, particularly when you know you're just I'm just an average person. I'm not, you know, I'm not, I'm just sort of Middle England maybe, I don't know, you know, I'm just an average person with probably an average set of views on most things. I'm a law-abiding person. I've never been in trouble for anything in my life, apart from the odd speeding fine, perhaps. To be sort of treated, you know, like a common criminal, in that way, for me personally, it is personal to me, because it just goes against everything that I am, and you know, it did affect me badly, and it still does.